What's up everybody, it's your boy Hokage here. Welcome to the video. Now if you haven't read the latest Boruto chapter, I'm gonna have it in the pinned comment of this video. So without further ado, let's get into the review. I just want to mention something that really was significant, and you know, one of my friends, and she actually did the thumbnail of this video. I'm gonna have her Twitter in the description of this video. You guys should follow her. Anyways, she reminded me of what Hagoromo said earlier in the Naruto series about, you know, how chakra is supposed to connect people, and actually Naruto kind of referenced that in this chapter when he was talking to Kawaki. I actually got this message from her, like from my friend, before I read the chapter, so I don't know if I would remember it if I wasn't reminded of it. The thing is, I was supposed to read this chapter when it came out like 15 hours ago and review it, but last night I went out with my friends. You know, one of my friends, you know, we were waiting for his 18th birthday, and I got drunk as fuck, and I just couldn't do the review when I came home last night, so I'm doing it now. But anyway, who knows, maybe I wouldn't remember, maybe I would. But anyway, Naruto said pretty much what Hagoromo was trying to say for such a long period. But, you know, without further ado, let's talk about some events from the chapter. I have some notes there on my computer. My laptop is here, so that's why I'm looking there for a little bit. Anyway, this chapter, it was great. I really enjoyed it, and although quote-unquote nothing significant happened in terms of plot progression, you know, I do think that this chapter was very important, you know, again, because of, you know, the development of Kawaki's character, or I should say, you know, we're getting to know Kawaki, right? This is the Kawaki arc, everything is focused on him, and ladies and gentlemen, if you've been following my channel for some period, you guys know that my top 3 characters from Boruto are number 1 Boruto, number 2 Sara, number 3 Mitsuki, obviously excluding the old gen. But from this chapter, because of this chapter, this list changes. It's number 1 Boruto, number 2 Sara, and number 3 Kawaki. I still love my boy Mitsuki, but Kawaki took his place, and Sara's place is endangered right now, because I just think that Kawaki's character is brilliant. Anyway, at the start of the chapter, Kawaki's holding the glue that Boruto gave him in the last chapter, I believe, and I remember that, you know, when the last chapter dropped, some people thought that, you know, Boruto was acting like a jerk because he wasn't super friendly towards Kawaki when Kawaki brought the new vase, right? But Boruto was trying to tell him, you know, Boruto was trying to show him a deeper message, right? And that's the fact that some things have value. Obviously, the vase that was broken, it was very important for Himawari, and although Kawaki buying a new vase is good, it would be even better if he were to fix the old vase. And at the end of this chapter, I think he was about to fix it, and that's when KASHIN Koji saw him, but we're gonna get into KASHIN Koji a little bit later. Anyway, it starts off with a lot of slice of life elements. Boruto is at home, he's playing some video games. I think that Jackson, on Twitter, he said that, you know, that Boruto was playing Super Mario. I didn't really catch that. But anyway, Jackson is the guy who provides us with anime spoilers every month. But anyway, it's just, you know, a slow chapter, just like the last one. And basically Naruto asks Boruto if they could train for some period. And, you know, knowing how this series started, how many problems, you know, Naruto and Boruto had in their relationship, this is very satisfying to see. You know, Naruto spending more time with his kid being happy about his father, no fighting, like no fights or anything. So yeah, I really like that. And obviously this training turned into some karma research that was actually suggested by Kawaki. Now obviously Kawaki can use his karma seal whenever he wants. Boruto doesn't know how to use it. The only way for right now that he can use it, that it's resonance, right? Resonance or whatever, I don't know how you pronounce it. And that's exactly how it was used in this chapter. I mean, I remember when Konohamaru's life was about to be ended, Boruto kind of saved, you know, Konohamaru with his karma seal. I don't know if, you know, I don't think the resonance was the reason behind that. But obviously, apart from resonance, there's another way of, you know, a certain person using the karma seal. I don't know if it's the same for everybody. Maybe Boruto's method is going to be different than Kawaki's, but that's something that's definitely going to be you know, shown to us as the series progresses, because in shonen, you know, you always have our main characters getting some strong abilities, but they need some time to master these abilities. I mean, just look at Naruto and the Nine Tails. So yeah, the training turned into karma research. Obviously, you know, there were quite a few panels of pure action. I thought it was very, very enjoyable. Boruto did get stronger, as Naruto said, and that's, you know, not connected to the karma seal. Obviously, when he used the karma, it was pretty much stated that it amplifies your strength, you're faster, and who knows what else the karma seal can do. I mean, Jigen, he looks like a very strong dude, and if he gives you that seal, it's probably something very hex. Excuse me. So yeah. Anyway, during this fight, there was one extremely hilarious moment when Naruto was about to end Boruto. I mean, and he was about to, like, finish the sparring match. Obviously, Naruto won because he's the strongest ninja in the world. But anyway, at one point, Naruto gets behind Boruto and Kawaki's like, too slow, you idiot, or something. I'm just loving his reactions. And that's not like, you know, he makes me laugh with his comments, right? That's not the main reason why I like him so much as a character. It's more so because of his backstory, because of his behavior, you know, how his backstory and his, you know, childhood affected, you know, how it affects him today. And I just have a kind of like a vision of how he's gonna progress as the series goes on. I mean, even right now, he's kind of changing, and I'm gonna get into that in a bit. Seal of reconciliation, we saw it in this chapter. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just, you know, a small detail when Shinobi do this, but, you know, I just think it's beautiful. It was a beautiful panel seeing Naruto and Boruto do that, and eventually Kawaki might become a shinobi, and one day we might see Kawaki doing that with somebody else, perhaps with Boruto or with Naruto or anybody else. You know, it's like a very ninja-like thing to do, and it's such a cool concept that Masashi Kishimoto introduced throughout the, you know, in the Naruto series actually. So I really, really liked that. And as Kawaki was watching this fight, yeah, this sparring match, you know, from time to time we would see his facial expressions, and later on in the chapter, you know, he pretty much acknowledges that, you know, training can be fun, which is something that he never experienced, and we actually see it by some of the flashbacks, how he was tortured physically and mentally by Jigen, how Jigen said that basically you have no friends, I don't know, no power, like you pretty much have nothing, you only have this karma seal and stuff like that. He was basically telling Kawaki that he's worthless, apart from the fact that he has the karma seal. We saw physical abuse when Kawaki asked, like, why am I suffering if this is good for me, right? Like, you know, he was referring to the karma seal, and this begs the question, and I've been saying this, you know, I've been mentioning this for a couple of times in the you know, in the past. Yes, Jigen seems abusive and all that, but what if there's some type of weird connection, emotional connection from Jigen? What if he's doing all of this on purpose to make Kawaki angry, to make him, you know, be powerful or whatever? I mean, just look at what Itachi did to Sasuke, and in the end, we saw that Itachi is like the greatest hero of all time, nearly. And before that, he looked like the biggest villain. So you gotta think twice about it. Okay, yeah, he looks super evil, he's torturing this kid, but let's see if there's something deeper to it in the future of the Boruto series. Maybe there isn't, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like when Kawaki said, why am I suffering? And when Jigen punched him with that weapon, and by the way, I think that's the weapon that Kawaki uses in the first episode of Boruto, the staff. And when Jigen punched him, he was obviously triggered by Kawaki's comment. And what if Jigen, for some reason, in some strange way, had some weird childhood with traumas or whatever, and, you know, maybe he got some power from somebody and he sticks to it, and then he was kind of like insulted by that. What if he's like so traumatized that he actually thinks that Kawaki should be thankful just because he has the karma seal? Maybe he's not super, you know, normal. I mean, Jigen definitely isn't a normal person. I don't know, I could be saying some nonsense right now. I don't even know what I said. But I just thought that, not only that, but in a couple of panels, Jigen's facial expressions, he wasn't as calm as as always, right? I don't know. I just still think that there's something deeper to it. He's not just gonna be a random villain who's evil for the sake of being evil. Let me just look at some of these notes. I'm trying to keep these reviews less than 20 minutes because, like, in a lot of my reviews, I review stuff and predict, you know, in the same video. But I'm gonna do a separate video previewing the next chapter, so I'm gonna save that for, you know, that. For now, I'm just reviewing this chapter. Yeah, and Jigen he says to Kawaki, it will be troublesome to kill you. Yes, it could actually be troublesome because, you know, they had so many failed experiments, but what if actually there's like a connection there and that's why he doesn't want to kill Kawaki? I don't know. But yeah, I mentioned how Kawaki mentions that, you know, training can be fun, and that's just tragic. It was so sad seeing him. You could see that he wasn't jealous of Boruto and Naruto, but it felt like he was kind of sad for the fact that he missed out on so many things, and you could genuinely see it by the facial expressions. Ikemoto nailed it with some of these panels. And you know, anyway, he mentions that he's not a shinobi because he can manipulate chakra. This kind of foreshadows that Naruto and Boruto are probably gonna, Naruto is probably gonna teach him how to use chakra or whatever. I already mentioned that speech that he had about chakra being able to connect people. I think he even mentioned Sarada, Boruto, Mitsuki, or whatever. And that was, you know, really enjoyable. I just love Naruto's character. He's my favorite anime character. You guys know it. And all that. So yeah, I do think that eventually, you know, Kawaki is gonna be able to use chakra and use some jutsu. But for me, the most genius moment of this chapter, and I don't think that many people realize how deep this was when Kawaki actually says that Kagebunshi no Jutsu could be useful because you could, like he says, you could punch yourself when you're frustrated. That moment right there, like, I nearly teared up. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I got drunk last night and, you know, I woke up and I was completely, you know, in a different dimension, and I wasn't, it's not that I wasn't, you know, focused when I was reading the chapter. I wouldn't be able to do this review otherwise. But it's just that, you know, when you wake up, you know, it's kind of harder to tear up or, you know, even cry when you read something. But at that moment, it hit me so hard that I nearly teared up when I saw that sentence when he said you could punch yourself if you're frustrated, because it shows that Kawaki is frustrated. Maybe he was frustrated subconsciously throughout his life. He wasn't even realizing it because he was always just angry. He was acting like an asshole to everybody. But now that he's seeing all of this, maybe he's frustrated with himself. Like, why couldn't he be like Boruto or somebody else? Because, you know, he has so many weird habits. You know, in the last chapter he nearly killed a kid because the kid bumped into him and stuff like that. Stuff like that makes him strange, and, you know, people are, you know, kind of telling him, yo, you should act differently. And maybe they're not saying it directly, but indirectly they're behaving in a different way when they're with Kawaki. And Kawaki seems like a smart kid. He's probably acknowledging all of this, and I just feel like he's, I don't know if, you know, consciously or subconsciously, but he's not happy. He's suffering a lot on a, you know, psychological level. And when he said that, it just shows that he will literally sometimes punch himself. And that moment, like, obviously Ikemoto is the illustrator, Kodachi writes the series, you know, the manga. I don't know who came up with this, and Masashi Kishimoto is the supervisor, but whoever came up with that sentence, you could punch yourself, you know, if with shadow clones or whatever, that was beautiful. Like, shout out to whoever came up with this idea. Naruto saying how he tried it, and later on, you know, just his replies to Kawaki, how, you know, he was so friendly, so warm, such a fucking Hokage, man. I just loved the interactions in this chapter. And yeah, at the end, as he's about to fix the vase, he's, you know, that's character development. He's changing, he's acting differently. We see Kashin Koji behind him. He finally finds him. There's a toad right there. Some people speculate that he was in sage mode because of his eyes. I don't know, I might cover it in a different video, I don't know. But it kind of, I feel like, just as like Kawaki is about to go through massive character development, and just before that he might get interrupted. He might get kidnapped or whatever. Maybe everything's gonna get fucked up, And I mean, that would be tragic, but so many tragedies happen in Kawaki's life, so that wouldn't surprise me. What I'm saying is he's becoming a quote-unquote better person, and boom, he's gonna get kidnapped, he's gonna get tortured even more, and that's a possibility. But then again, I don't want to predict too much because I just wanted to review this chapter. 10 out of 10 for me, no flaws, beautiful artwork, beautiful interactions, a great cliffhanger at the end, which opens up so many possibilities for the next chapter. This manga, man, like, the day it becomes weekly, if it ever does, I'm gonna make the craziest celebration video and upload it on YouTube. I actually tweeted that a couple of days ago, I think yesterday or before yesterday. But I just, you know, Kawaki, I love this character. Like, and that scene again, I know I already mentioned it 55 fucking times, but the scene with the shadow clone comment, how you could punch yourself, that hit me. And that hurts what I just did 3 times, but that hit me even harder than these 3 hits. Anyway, guys, that was your boy Hokage. Twitter and Discord links are in the description below. Don't forget to follow my friend. She did this thumbnail, the thumbnail for this video. Also, if you're new to this channel, and if you're into the Boruto series, consider subscribing. And yeah, link to my second channel is in the description of this video as well. I don't know if I already mentioned it. I will see you in my next video, which will be the anime episode review, which is coming out tomorrow on Sunday. So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna end this video. Bye.